Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Moho crochet along textured squares blanket. Let's have a look at the square that we're going to be making this month. Whoa, close up and zoom out. Oh, look who's found a new feature on her phone. Right, so this is the square that we're going to be making today. So let's see what we do. All right, then let's get cracking. So make sure that you have an up-to-date version of this pattern. If I've posted you one out, we have spotted a mistake in row 3. So the updated version is in the files on the Facebook group. Okay, so we make sure we've got this pattern if you're working off a pattern. If you're not, just listen to me, that's fine. So for our second square, what we're going to do is we're going to do a nice chunky waffle. So we're using yellow, inspired by the daffodils that are springing up out of the ground now. Ooh, they're happy flowers, aren't they? And I know it's pancake day, not waffle day, but you use pretty much the same mix, don't you? So that's why we've chosen a waffle for February. It's tenuous and I like it. So I've got a 6mm hook. I've got my chunky yarn and I have got my yarn needle ready for sewing in my ends later. Okay, now each month I'd like to try and sort of teach you a new skill or two. This month, if you have never done this before, then it's quite a useful technique. What we're going to do is a chainless foundation row. So this means, because a lot of people when they do the chains can be really tight, and then it means all the rest of the work puckers. If we use the chainless foundation row method, you get a nice stretchy edge that matches the finished edge, so you get a much more even perimeter. Oh, there you go, thank you GCSE maths. So that's the first skill that we're going to learn, this chainless foundation row. If you have a go and you hate it and you go, oh no, then follow the instructions for 1A. This is an alternative starting row where you just do your chain. Just keep it nice and loosey-goosey though. If you're going to do the chainless foundation row, then we're using instructions number 1. And the other skill that we're going to look at this month is the front post treble crochet. They're really good for creating right squishy texture. So that's what we're going to be looking at in here. Right, so let's get going. So we're going to be working, this is a square where we're going to be working in rows. So we're going to be using 20 stitches, which is going to be our standard number of stitches that we start with, unless we have to adapt it for some reason. If you are using double knit, do 40 stitches. If you're using Aran, I'd do 30. If you're doing a square of a different size, follow your heart and do as many as you want. Right, so we'll get this out of the way over here and we will start our a little chainless foundation row. So we start as ever, leave yourself a nice 15-ish centimetre tail and start with a slip knot. So that's where we tie it all the way around and loop it onto there and pop it on our hook. Lovely. Right, so we'll see if we can zoom in. So we're zoomed in right close now. Look at these cuticles. Oh, if ever I've needed a manicure. Right, so we're going to start off, and what we're going to do, it says, is chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, nice and loose. Okay, so we're here. So what we're going to do is we're going to work into this chain down here. Now the idea of the chainless foundation row, we're still sort of going to be making the chains, but we're going to make them, we're going to be working into sort of the bottom of the stitches as opposed to the top like we used to, so it is a little bit different. So we're doing trebles, so we wrap around, put your hook in that first chain that you made and pull up a loop. We've now got 3 loops on our hook. Wrap your yarn over and pull it through one chain, if you will. So that's chain 1. So we look like that. We then going to work it like it's a normal treble. So we've made the chain at the base and then we're doing our treble into it. 1 and 2. So instead of like working into these top of the stitches like we used to, we're going to be working in down here. And what we need to do is turn it over and look where we're going to insert our hook. What we're looking for is this kind of number 6 shape-ish here. So we start our next one. So we go, all right, I've done my wrap around. I need to insert my hook under both strands of this chain that I made at the other one. So that's why it's important we keep it loosey-goosey. So wrap my yarn over and pull it through, and then just give that a little pull so that you can pull it so that this is nice and loose here. All right, so we've gone through, we've got our 3 loops. So then we go chain 1 to make the base of it, and then round and through 2, round and through 2. Okay, look back to my bottom bit there, wrap my yarn around my hook, insert it under those 2 strands there and pull up a loop. Give it a stretch so that it's nice and baggy, but you get it. Chain 1, somebody at the door, round and through 2, round and through 2. Delightful. All right, so we go wrap around underneath this coil at the top here, catch it, pull up a loop, give it a stretch, round and through 1, round and through 2, round and through 2. So we've now got the chain counts as your first stitch, and we want 20 stitches in total. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we keep going. Look for your little sort of, looks like your chain from the other, the top of your stitches from the other end, it looks like your V's. So we're going under there, pull it up, give it a stretchy stretch, round and through 1, round and through 2, round and through 2. If this is really tight along here and it's sort of coiled up like that, just try and keep it a bit looser, and it's all on that first one. So we go wrap around. So if it's too tight, it's this bit, this loop that you pull through here, you need to just sort of pull it so it's kind of twice as big as that one. Round and through 1, round and through 2, round and through 2. Lovely. So we do that until we've got 20, including our first chain. That counts as a stitch. So wrap around. Oh, missed it. There, round and through 1, round and through 2, round and through 2. And what we should end up getting is a nice stretchy edge along this bottom bit. So wrap, through, back, 1, 2, 2. If you have a go at this and you just go, oh my God, I do not like this, you can just do, like we said, just do your normal chain. So we chain 22, and then you're going to start in the 4th chain from the hook and do 19 normal treble crochets into your chain to give you a total of 20 stitches, including your initial chain. Now a few of you have been finding as well that you're having to, so when you weigh your squares, they're a bit big or they're a bit underweight, and you're adapting your hook size to get the right tension. That is right exciting. So carry on with that. Make sure you're weighing your squares. If you're using our kit and you've got 100 grams of each one, we need to weigh our squares. Oh, went too far there. Pull that back. Do you know, doing 2 things at once, eh? So yeah, weigh your squares, make sure they're not more than 25, and if they are, then maybe go down a hook size. Some people are finding that they're having to go down to a hook of a 5, so they must have a right loosey-goosey tension, which will be good for this. Right, so we'll do a quick count in a minute because I don't know how many I've done now. Right, let's have a count. So we can count it this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we need 18, 19, and the last one 20. Now if you are finding that you're struggling to get this right, it's probably because you're pushing this through here and you're going, I've got my 3 loops, I'll go round and through 2, round and through 2. But we still need to do that once you've pulled up your 3 loops, 1 chain, 2, 2. Right, so we've now got our 20 stitches. Let's just do a quick check again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Delightful. Now when you're doing anything with front and back posts, your first and last stitch don't count as part of the pattern, because you've got your turning chain at one end and at the other end you're working into it, so we can't do anything about that. So we start with chain 2. Now we're only doing a 2 chain because we're going to be doing front posts, so that pulls your stitches down a little bit, so we don't need a 3 chain, you'll get a baggy hole. So 2 chain, turn, so that's going to count into that one. We're not going to work into that first stitch. And into the first one we're going to do a normal treble crochet, so that's just in the top, treble. Now the next one says a front post treble crochet, so what we're going to do then is we're going to do a front post around this next stitch here. So if I would have gone in the top normally, I'm going to go in the space at the side of it and come out at the space at the other side. So my hook is going to go behind it and I'm just going to pull this stitch to the front. So I'll show you this nice and slowly. So we wrap around, it's still a treble. We put it in the space there. So that's the stitch I've just been in. So I'm going in the space before the stitch I would work in, out the other side of it, not out the back of the work, keeping my hook on the front. Wrap my yarn over my hook and pull it underneath. So I've got my 3 loops on my hook, and then round and through 2, round and through 2. Now what you need to make sure is that you sort of pull this up straight and that you don't work into that stitch at the back. A lot of people sort of pull it this way and they go, oh, I've got a stitch there, I'll go into that one. You'll start increasing if you do that. So pull it sort of horizontally and then you can see that you've done that one. So we're going to go into this next one here. So the pattern, the repeat now is 2 normal treble crochets. So that's 1 and 2. And then a front post. So pull it so you can see where you've been in, so you see you've worked into that stitch. So we're going to go underneath this one here for a front post. So that's under there. So I'll show you that again. So wrap around, bin in there, go in the gap before it, come out the gap after it, catch your yarn, pull it all the way underneath that stitch, round and through 2, round and through 2. Okay, so then pull it up straight so you can see where your next stitch is. It's there. So we go normal treble and normal treble. There. Let's get a bit of wool. It's got stuck on my slippers. Oh, the glamour. Right, so this is my next stitch here. So I'm going to do a front post underneath that one there. Lovely. Round through 2, round through 2. And then it's 2 normals. 1, 2. And then back to my front post, so I'll give it a stretch. Oh, this is the one that needs to come forwards there, under, round through 2, round through 2. Wrap it over in normal treble, normal treble, front post here, there, and that, there, normal treble, normal treble, and at the end we should have a front post, a normal, and then we'll do the little toe. So front post, oh it's my wool knocking a biscuit tin over. Front post, bit of fluff, so professional. Normal treble, so if you have a look here, we've got these last bits here and it's important we don't miss them. So I've got a normal treble to go into that stitch there, lovely, and then we're going to do a half treble crochet into this gap, right? So we just go in the gap like that, and that should give you a nice straight edge. Right, so that's row 1 done. We should have these sort of like row 2 actually, isn't it? It's lies. So we should have these sort of these lines starting to stick up a little bit. So we're now going to start row 3, which was the one that, if you are using our original version of the pattern, is wrong. So I shouldn't write things while I'm drinking heavily, should I? Right. I don't drink. Right, so chain 2 and then turn your work. So in this pattern, if we can see the sticking forwards like this, we're going to do a front post around them. So it's going to be front, normal, front, front, normal, front, front, normal, front, front. So if I can see like these legs, can you see that these ones are sitting a bit further forward? I don't know why I'm asking you questions, you can't answer, can you? I hope you did. So we're going to do a front post around this first one. So that chain counts as your first stitch. So it's front. And then a normal one in that one, because that's sitting back a little bit there. So a normal one in the top. And then front, front around these next 2 that are sitting forwards. Front. Front. And then that one's sitting back, so that must be a normal. Let's get a bit more wool. And then front, front, and a normal. And then front, front, normal, front, front, sitting back a bit because you can see this line sitting in front there, so we're going normal, right then, so on with the next row. So if you can see these waffly bits on here, then you're doing a row 2. If you can see just the sort of the lines where they should be, you're doing a row 3. So we're on a row 2. So let's do our 2 chain, a 1, 2, flip it. So this pattern is going to be exactly the same as we did down here. It's going to be normal treble, front post, normal, normal, front, normal, normal, front, all the way along. So we start off with just 1 normal, and then it is front, normal, normal, front, normal. So you turn the sound off, normal, front. So you can tell if you are doing it right then, because all these lines that are raised should line up to create your waffle texture. Can you see that there in those shadowy lighting effects? So normal, normal, front, and normal, normal, and front, and then normal, normal, and front. And then we have a look at these last 2 stitches. So once you've done your last front, and you can see your line coming up there, just think, right, we've got to pull these into a nice sort of square shape so that we don't miss any. So we're going to do a normal one, a normal treble in the top of there, and then we mustn't forget the little toe. So we make our space there and we do a half treble. Let's wrap around, in and back, round and through all 3, a half treble into that bit. So we've then got 2 rows of our waffle. Okay, so we'll do one more row. I'll show you one more row, and then I will skip to the end to show you how you make sure it's square. So we have our 2 chain turn. So this is going to be, remember, if they're sticking forwards like this, then we're doing a front. If it's sitting back like that, we're doing a normal. So it's going to be front, normal, front, front, normal, front, front, normal. Okay, so let's work along this. So we start with the front. When you're doing your front post as well, just to point, so make sure that you're going in the holes down here, not in up that bit. You will sort of get the effect, but it won't be quite as pronounced if you're going in the wrong bit. So we're going under the actual sort of body of the stitch. So that was a front, normal, front, front, normal, front, front, normal. And that's your pattern all the way along. This does make a really, really, really nice blanket. You can do a single waffle where you just have, so that would just be like normal front, normal front, normal front, which is what I've done my hats in, if you've had any of our hat patterns. So you can do a normal waffle. That'll be like, there won't be a right side and a wrong side for that. So that is quite good for blankets, anything where you're sort of going to be seeing both sides, like scarves and things. It's right cosy. It is a bit of a yarn eater. This is anything that uses front post will be a bit of a yarn muncher. So this is what we would call a double waffle, because it's got 2 bars in it. So this is better for things where you have a right side and a wrong side, which our blanket will have. We'll just have a look at the last 2. So I did my last normal. I've got a final front and half treble in there. Right, I will disappear now for a little while, and I will come back to you when it's a square. All right, I'll see you in a bit. Right, so I'm up to here now, so I'm quite happy that this is a square. The way we can check is sort of fold it across there, and if that side is measuring the same as that side and that side on there, it's like a sandwich, doesn't it? Then we are a square. Now don't worry if it's not quite as big as your other one, as the first one that we did. This stitch here is quite a loose and bouncy stitch, so don't worry, because look, mine are not the same. When we join these together, as long as we can get 20 stitches, they will all sort of work their way out and wibble themselves into shape. So it's more about the weight. So I'm going to weigh this. This is coming in at 22.23, right? So that's fine. I'm happy that that's under 25 grams. I think if I put another row on, you can pull it this way and stuff. If I put another row on, it would definitely go into rectangular. So let's go with it. Right. So what we need to do now then is our slip stitch border. So let's get rid of that there. Right, so if you remember, we want to do 20 slip stitches, nice and loosey-goosey, along each edge and a chain in each corner, and this will make it nice and easy when we're joining it together. So I want my slip stitches on this side, so you've got to do it with this side facing you, because we want this to be the front, and the border must be visible around the front. So I'm going to head this direction first. You'll go the other way. If you are left-handed, will you be over here, won't you? I don't even know. So I've got one chain. So I'm going to just work down here. So remember what we did, we were aiming for 20. So a few people have said that they were struggling to get the slip stitches nice and loose. So I'll show you this. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. So when you put your hook in, if you're doing your slip stitch, stretch that second loop up a bit before you pull it through. Right, and then it can be nice and bouncy. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Now the nice thing about this is we can quite easily see where the middle point is. So if we've got 1, 2, 3 blocks on that side, 3 blocks on that side, and that's your middle. So by the time I get to here, I need to make sure that I've got 10 stitches. So that was 3, and I'm aiming for there. Let's go in here. 4. You can go through, like, as long as you're going through something. 5, doesn't matter if it's 1 strand or 2 strands. Ooh. 6, 7, 8, ooh, 9, and we'll have a 10. Oh, there, 10. Ooh, lost it. Nope, gone in the hole. That'll do. 10, and you can see they're quite nice and bouncy. Don't worry if they go a bit wibbly. When we sew it together, they'll all be pulled into shapes. Very, very forgiving. So that's me 10. So I want to go 11, 12, 1 in there, 13, 14, 15, and then we'll have 16. Join that bit there, come on. Oh, same one again, I've gone in. Honestly, can't get the staff. 17, 18, 19, and one in this corner one here, 20. Okay, so if you have a look at mine, it's a bit wibbly. It looks a bit like they're going up and down. When it's straightened out and we've gone through this half of them, it will look beautiful. Right, so when we're at the corner, we must remember to do our 1 chain. And then, oh my God, it's tangled around my slippers again. Right, so then we're going to come back along here and we should have nice 20 stitches easy to see, because this is our, that foundationless, chainless foundation that we started. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and come on you monkey, 20. Okay, so one chain. Look, that one's nice and straight along there because that's coming into your back, your base stitches, so that's lovely. Right, so again we're aiming for, where's my midpoint? And I can see as well, if you can see how when I started speeding up, so down here I was being quite chilled and relaxing, and hang on, let's zoom out a bit. Oh, in, oh. So down here I was showing you and I was demonstrating. This is the bit I've done off video super fast, so it has tightened up a bit, but don't worry, it will be fine. Right, so we want 20 coming this way, don't we? So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go in there. Oh, come on. 7, 8, 9, and oh, through that little chain there, it's tight. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and in this top one up here in your turning chain, come on, 20. Oh, missed it. 20. Okay, get a bit more yarn. Lovely. So then we're going to come across here, one chain. So make sure we're going in our first stitch there. So that's this, what was your turning chain? So we're doing another one in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then in my little turning chain at the top here, oh, go on, 20. Right, and then we do our chain 1, and then we are going to do our invisible join again and sew our ends in. So snip off your tail, and after you chain, pull it all the way through. Dig your yarn needles. Okay, and we're going to join it to this first slip stitch here. So I'm going to pull that just so it's the right tension, and then going to go, shall I zoom in for this bit? Let's zoom in and make you all seasick. There we go, wibbly wibble. Right, so I'm coming out of here. I want to go underneath this last, or first slip stitch, so underneath both sides with my needle. So pull it underneath, pull your yarn till it matches the tension, and then go back in where your yarn came out of, which is this little bit here, down there, and see if you can go through something else on the back as well. Pick up another strand and pull it in, and there we have that bit. So we will then, I'll sew my ends in across here. Now it's not as easy to sew your ends in on, let me just zoom out a little bit. Oh God, look at the colour of my nails. Been using acrylic paint. I'll have a good scrub later. Right, So it's not as easy to sew your ends in through the tails on these because, through the legs on these, because you're going to get these stitches here where you did a front post in it, and so the back's sticking out. So you have to kind of get a little bit more creative when you're sewing these ends in. But it's nothing that you won't be capable of. So I'm going to go through these 4 here. Then I'm going to pick up and go along these 2 there that were horizontal, and then under the next 4 like that. Then give it a nice pull so you can get it to the right tension. Pick that up there. Oh, pull it too tight, and then come back along here like that. Oh, don't pull that too tight. Lovely. And then we can snip it off there. Okay, my yarn ran out halfway through my square as well, so I've got a couple of ends to sew in there, and I've got an end to sew in there. But then after that we are all done. Now, so we're aiming for 4 of these if you're using the kit. Don't worry if they look a bit wibbly and everything like that. Honestly, everything will work out. We will just wibble itself out. It'll be magical. Even these bits here, when we get them sewn together, they will all pull themselves straight. It'll be beautiful. Right, so we will do a Zoom. If anybody's got any questions, be sending them in to me. I'll sort out a live in a week or 2, and then we can get this sorted, and then we can get you on to March. So have a look so far. Oh, it's a little blanket. Right, all right, give us a shout if you need anything. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.